I heard it years ago, and it's the 3 Ds of management. And it's been able to decide, to delegate, and to disappear.
Today on the podcast, I'm chatting with Paul Lenehan, who owns a couple of pubs in Kildare in Ireland, and he's also recently opened up Firecastle restaurant in Kildare. Firecastle is a cafe, deli, grocery and cookery school, and also has a couple of rooms thrown in there for good measure. Paul is a man on a mission, and there's plenty more up his sleeve. If you haven't already done so, click the subscribe button to get brand new content directly to your feed every single week. Paul, it's good to have you on. Thanks for joining me for the podcast.
You're welcome. Good to be here.
Right, we're just gonna jump straight into it. You're a man that has you have your hands in lots of pies, so to speak, up there in Kildare. You've a good couple of restaurants going. Just to start, give me the the background of how you got to where you are today.
I suppose I started off as a GMIT graduate from hospitality management back in 2001. I was in the hospitality sector, within the hotel sector, I should say, probably for about 5 or 6 years after that. I left my hotel experience as a deputy general manager of a 4-star hotel in Bunclody in County Wexford. And from there, I was given an opportunity to take a lease of a pub up in Kildare. So took a lease of a pub with a mate of mine who I'd met, who was subsequently my brother-in-law, but I met him at the same time down in Bunclody. He was a Bunclody man working in the hotel with me. So the two of us took the opportunity with both hands, took a lease of a pub up in County Kildare, a pub called Flanagan's Mill in Sallins. We were there for about two and a half years, and we were given another opportunity to lease another pub. So instead of taking two, we decided we'd just take the one we had, and we moved into the Dewdrop Inn in Kill. We then that was in 2007. So by 2009, again getting itchy feet, there was an opportunity in Kildare town to take on another pub that was closed down. So we took that as well. So we kind of divided our time. Ronan stayed in the Dewdrop, and I took on Harte's in Kildare town, which obviously has done very well for us over the last 10 years. We went from there up to Ashtons in Clonskeagh in 2012. Again, we're just afforded an opportunity to take that and decided we'd take it. So at that stage, up to 2012, we had the 3 pubs all tipping away. Again, young families, but we'd loads of time at the same on our hands. We were just busy, and filling the day with running the 3 places. And then I suppose an opportunity came in 2014 to buy a site beside where we have Harte's in Kildare town. And that's where we bought a nice site right in the corner here, the Market Square. Again, another derelict building. And we've just put in our latest venture opened only about 4 months ago. A brand new build out of the ground, which is kind of gone back into the hotel sector, small bit. We've got 10 bedrooms. Yes. We've got a restaurant cafe on the ground floor, but also a large retail space. So it's got a cookery school, a grocer, a market cafe, and that's the one that's keeping us busy at the moment because it's the only one that's really open, and it's in these particular times it's doing pretty well. It's thriving, you know.
Very good. And before we get into talking about that venture, the Firecastle, you said you opened up a place in 2009, and then you've opened up the obviously 2009 wasn't a great time in Ireland, right? And then you opened up another place in the height of 2020, the pandemic. Explain that to me. Is that the opportunity, or is this what's going on there?
I suppose look, everything. I suppose what's happened to us so far, we've been the decisions we've made. We've nearly been forced into making them through no factor or no, I suppose. The decision to take on Harte's originally in 2009 was because times were so tough. You're talking about, as I mentioned earlier, with 2 young families working as hard as we could. We realized in the Dewdrop it wasn't enough wasn't enough for both of us. And so things in the Dewdrop, we by 2009 we'd gone in 2007. So in 2009, things in Dew had really kind of fallen off. Had been a very busy food pub. Drink was gone. Everything was just really decimated. So we made it a conscious decision that we needed to find another way of making a few quid, and we need to split our time. And again, right place, right time. I knew somebody in Kildare town who had a vacant pub that had been closed down for a long time. So we looked at it a couple of times, and then we said, look, and we'll try and make a go of this. We got a small loan, and the landlord again decided to throw a few quid in behind it, and we were able to get it up and running. And it just took off. I mean, again, I'm from Kildare town, so I knew there was a gap in the market. I knew there was a couple of pubs that did very well, but they did what they did, and they did it exceptionally well. But there was no one doing something a little bit extra, that little bit more kind of that gastro pub feel, which was kind of new, but that restaurant quality food in a pub setting. So we had the perfect setting. We had a beautiful building on the market square, and as soon as we got going, it just took off and it thrived. And we didn't see a year. We continuously grew until 2018, and 2018 is actually when it flattened out and we took a dip. Or 2019, I should say, when the VAT changed. But up to that, so that's where we made that call. The call we made on this, where we are in Firecastle, that was again a result of being in Harte's. A building come up beside it. Site was been given away for next to nothing. Saw an opportunity, took it, went into planning, and should have had this building open and this business open probably in 2018. But planning, Irish Water, back to planning, just the jigs and reels, coronavirus. Then obviously when we were due to open last June, and then obviously the builders went off site, kicked everything back. So we didn't actually get open until Friday, September the 11th, believe it or not. So 9/11, we opened Firecastle, and yeah, it's certainly been tough, but it's given us an opportunity to work really hard within this business as opposed to having to mind the other three at the same time. So it's been good for us because literally I'm here 24/7. So.
Very good. And talk to me a little bit about the kind of like opening up, where your head was at with opening up Firecastle and the concept, because like it's as you were saying there right at the outset, it's a restaurant, a cafe, you have rooms, you have a cookery school. Like it seems to me like there's a lot going on. So what was the thinking behind that?
Well, again, I suppose over the last 10, 12 years, I've been around to a lot of kind of businesses that will do some touching on bits and pieces. So what I always say that we're a hybrid store, a real hybrid of a bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of this. So I would have taken a lot of it, I suppose, down to the years up to Nevin Maguire's would have been, that was the cookery school influence and having a really nice restaurant. But I always wanted the cookery schools. We were doing cookery classes in Harte's for the last few years, and it literally is the door or the over the wall next beside us here. So I always wanted that, bring the rooms into that kind of scene with the cookery school. Then I'd always been, we always knew that we're on a market square in Kildare down here. So there's a market every Thursday, and there's a market every Sunday, every second Sunday, that's a food market. And because you're a market square, you're kind of looking around going, this is perfect for a market shop. Nice big old school, old style grocers with gourmet, like it's all using artisan producers. It's not really your Centra or any of these. It's a bespoke food store, a nice, really good general store. So we had that, and again it was location. And we have the market, which is the market square out in front of us, which is fully pedestrianised. So they all started to add up, and I took influences from the likes of Fallon and Byrne, which are heavy in their veg side of stuff. You've got Avoca, which are really good at the retail kind of all the bits and pieces. My sister worked with Avoca for 10 years, so we had a wealth of knowledge there. So I suppose we've taken pockets of everything and we put them into this particular product here in the square in Kildare. And I say we haven't got the rooms really going yet. Obviously we can't. We've maybe one or two a night, but potential is there, great potential.
Very good. And so the kind of the model anyways, because it's not something like, I know you've mentioned a few places there, but I haven't really seen that model of them all joined together.
No.
But is it going quite well? Like
It is. Look, there is nothing out there. There's absolutely nothing that marries a cookery school with a grocery shop, with a cafe, with bedrooms. It's not out there. I suppose, no, there's definitely nothing like it. No. So I mean, it works at the moment because the shop we're able to stay open as as a what do you call it?
A retail shop,
yeah,
right?
well, yeah, exactly. It's a so the retail is working well. The shop itself, the bakery, the deli, coffee is a huge thing. When I say we're on the market square, so the only place people could come out and meet up is on the square. So that's, I mean, the pandemic has afforded us a big opportunity in one way, because we've got a captive audience and everybody's around. So we're the new place, we're the new kids on the block. Everybody wants to come and see, and everyone has helped to support us, which has given us a great foothold, I suppose. And it's going forward, it's very positive.
Very good. And on that point, and not to bring a somber mood to the podcast, because I don't want this podcast to be talking about COVID all day long. But obviously, in your position, Paul, you have a couple of pubs. I'd love to get your insight into kind of like what's the plan going forward with the pubs, and like even with your own, from your own point of view in your business, and even kind of nationally, do you think there's going to be a change there in direction with regard to wet pubs?
Oh, I think certainly with wet pubs, I think wet pubs, whatever way you look at it, it's going to be very difficult for them to, certainly for the amount of them is going to be reduced. You can already see that in probably most towns. People already know that there's pubs that didn't open the last lockdown and certainly won't reopen. So, you know, the knock-on effect of that is some pubs that will reopen will actually probably do well enough. But I just think it's going to be a long time before you see that, you know, that real packed pub, that live music, you know, everything going on, that we all, you know, that is what you think about when you think of going out on a Friday night to a pub. You know, you'll always think of, I walked by, I was out for a walk last night myself, and we just walked by a garage, and a guy had his car door was open, he was listening to Christy Moore, and as we walked away, we turned around, he just said, it's like you just walked past a pub that had live music on, you know, you felt that, kind of going, and it was just strange to hear it. You're kind of going, no, that's just a guy outside of a supermarket there. But I think it's going to be a long time before we see that again. I hope it comes back. I think there's too many good pubs out there, and you know, pubs they need to come back. They're a key kind of they play a huge part in every community. So I think they will come back, but it's going to be tough, and the amount of them is certainly going to be an awful lot less than what there was.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. And so let's get into. I really want to ask you now about, and we've talked a little bit about your restaurants and the different kind of concepts you have. I'd love to get Paul, and I think my listeners would find this very interesting as well. Kind of the process in your head when it comes to opening up a new restaurant. And what I mean, or a new location, right? So what I mean by that is kind of like what are the criteria in your head that you go through, like whether it be location, size, you know, how does that work in your head?
Well, definitely you're looking for something that's different and that's not already there. So I suppose, you know, certainly the two places in Kildare town, we back in 2009 when we took our Hartes, we knew there was a gap in the market. So first of all, your research is finding out what can you do that's not already been done. So the product that we were going to produce in Hartes wasn't been done in the town. You know, that kind of gastro pub serving, that I said, restaurant quality food, nice setting, you know, good music, everything. So that wasn't been looked at. That wasn't in Kildare town. And then certainly with Firecastle, again, that's not done anywhere. That was a very much, what can we create? But again, that was location. We knew we had the location for that. So the factors, when you look at it, go, what's going to work in this town? Well, first thing we knew, Kildare town needs bedrooms, so we'll incorporate bedrooms. We know that we already have a good brand in Hartes with Hartes with the cookery side, so we'll incorporate a bit of that. We know we've got the market square. We can do a market shop, and then that's kind of how that fed into what Firecastle has become. When we went to the Dewdrop again, that was very much a wet pub, and this was 2007 when we went in, and it was the time when pubs were starting to branch out into doing food. But I mean, we came from more of a hospitality background, a catering background, than we did come back from a pub background. So naturally, it was something we wanted to do and kill and change what was very much a 70% to 30% drink to food business into what's now probably 60-40. And it's 60-40 probably going back about 8 years. We changed that very quickly when we realized that food was the way to go. So again, that was a key factor in going into Kill at the time to take on the pub again. It was look around. Again, it was location. It was a pub. It was a village with 5,000 people in it, 4,000 people back in 2007. with 2 pubs. One had a kitchen, one didn't. There was a Chinese takeaway and there was no cafe. Again, captive audience, 4,500 people. Like, we can't get this wrong. You know, this really could work. And again, the hinterland around Kill was massive. And then again, a little bit similar, I suppose, in Ashtons. Ashtons was a slightly different one. Ronan, who's my business partner, had worked up there in Ashtons when he was in college in UCD. And I suppose always had a draw to go back to Dublin and to get our teeth into a pub in Dublin. So I think we probably thought less about that move than, you know, and less strategy in taking. It was kind of more of this is more of a punt. This is a chance to get into Dublin. Look, we know what we're doing. Surely we can make this work if we can make the other ones work in Kildare. So that was kind of that one, you know. That's how we got in. That's how the decisions were, I suppose, essentially made.
Very good. And you may have already answered this question, Paul, but kind of you've mentioned location a number of times there when it comes to opening a restaurant.
Yeah.
But I'd love to get your kind of opinion on, I suppose, the kind of important elements, like what would be the kind of fundamental, I know it's a very hard one to answer, but the kind of skill, the main skill that's involved in running a kind of a successful place.
Trust. Like, for me anyway, I think I'm probably a bit too trustworthy at times, but you've got to be able to trust the people you have working with you, or working below you, people that are looking up to you for. And that's the only way. I mean, if you didn't trust anybody, I would have been stuck in one place and I wouldn't have been able to move on to do other things. But having good people around you, I mean, we have staff working here in Firecastle. And some of them started with me in Harte in 2009. Some of them started as 19 and 20-year-old, you know, waiters and waitresses, and they're all still with me. They're now they are my senior management here in Firecastle. So and same with our chefs, we brought them up along the way. But again, it's trusting them, and I think then with that they trust you. By doing that, you gain loyalty, and then by giving trust, you receive loyalty. And that's enabled us to be able to do as much as we've been able to do so far. You know, trust me, would have liked to have done a lot more, and there's plenty more opportunities out there. But it's trust is key. Definitely.
Very good. That's very interesting, because I ask most guests I bring on the podcast that, and they give me similar answers about a lot of guys that are at scale as well, that have multiple restaurants, and they do always talk about staff, you know, and people.
Yeah. Key. But I think that's been able to. You have to let people do their job. I kind of always. I have what I heard it years ago, and it's the 3 Ds of management, and it's been able to decide, to delegate, and to disappear. And, like, you know, you tell people that and they kind of go, sure, you can't do that. I think what you mean when you mean to disappear is being able to trust them do what you've already asked them to do. And if you're able to do that, and you're able to do it continuously, then you should be able to get a lot of things done. So it's the 3 Ds.
Very good, love it. I think that's fantastic. So you touched on it there, Paul. You said there's still lots of opportunity out there. So I want to ask you about that. What's the growth plan for you in the business going forward?
I think we would like, certainly we've also got a microbrewery. We've a brewery over in our pub over in the Dewdrop, and we're looking, I suppose, at expanding on that. By having a couple of pubs, gives us route to market straight away. So from a production point of view, we know we have route to market. We can sell it in our own places. We're bottling it and selling a lot of it through Firecastle. Again, so we've 4 places that we can produce our own beer and get it to the customer. So any extra contracts we get, or any extra places that decide to take our beer, either it be pubs or off licenses, it's a bonus. But at the moment, we're busy enough. The pubs were busy enough at the time to take all our own beer. Obviously now we're bottling it and we're putting it into quite a few off licenses. But that's one huge area of growth that we're looking at, potential growth. Again, the Dewdrop is a fine site, and when we bought it, we knew the potential of it. I suppose long term over there, we'd love to think that we could put bedrooms into that as well, now that we've gone into bedrooms over here. But definitely there's potential to put maybe 20, 30 bedrooms over in Dewdrop. It's on a great site over there. So that's another angle we're looking at. I don't know if we'd look at taking on any more new projects or any new pub and restaurants in this environment, but certainly probably working on the ones we have. So I suppose, you know, would we definitely rooms the Dewdrop and the brewery, but what we have created here in Firecastle, where I am now, I think that's something that could be replicated. Maybe not with the bedrooms, but certainly with all the other facets to it. It's a nice strong brand. Again, if we found the right location in the next 2 years, maybe sooner, we definitely probably start looking down those lines. But we're only 4 and 5 months open. We're not really looking for that just yet. But that's certainly I think where we would be going. Definitely.
Very good. And would you would you ever consider replicating that outside of Dublin, then, like in some other city, or
Firecastle?
Yeah.
I think once we nail it, like obviously there's been, I'd be very naive if I thought I would be able to say that I know everything about this side of the business already. Not a chance. And I suppose taking a punt on it when we did, getting into it, been able to work in it the last 4 or 5 months, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. It's a beast in comparison to running or opening a restaurant, when you can really get a formula quite quickly within a restaurant, and then you're always just tinkering with that formula, trying to make it better, or trying to speed up service or changing your menu. But it's literally the same page. You're on the same page all of the time. This one here is a different animal altogether. There's so many you've so many different things going on within the kitchen. The bakery section, you've got the pastry section, you've got our deli, you've got our Firecastle Fresh, which is all our stuff that we're producing to sell out of the fridges, all the ready-made meals. You've got so many more elements then within the shop, and staff are doing different jobs. It throws up an awful lot of new things every day. Again, I think that's just because we haven't fully learned exactly what we're doing. We can't write the book on it yet. It's changing every day. COVID changes it every other day. When we had the cafe we had the internal cafe here, which we had 60 seats, but we've actually taken all those 60 seats out, and we've actually put food racks and shelving on to take up that space, because that's where it went. That's where we saw the market, because we had to increase our offering. We can't sit our 15 people outside at the moment. So again, we got rid of all our cups and our crockery, and everything went to takeaway. And then as soon as we went takeaway, we realized people could actually sit further afield on the square in Kildare, and they were sitting on benches and sitting on window ledges, and anywhere they could sit down for a coffee and a scone over Christmas, that's what they were doing, or a sandwich or a salad. So that whole side, the deli has already changed, gone full circle, and what originally was a sit-in kind of cafe. Come up, it was like kind of, in all essence, that kind of carvery feel. It wasn't a carvery, but you're coming up to the counter with your tray. I'll have that salad with that sandwich, that quiche, that pie, whatever that case, and sit down freely with your crockery. But now it's all grab and go, in, out, grab your compostable cup and out the door, so that's changing the whole time. And the weather has been so wet all of this month, is that we realize that, again, it's changed even more. People just literally want stuff cold. They don't want the sandwiches toasted. They don't want their salad. They want their salads in boxes separately. They want their sausage rolls cold. They want their pies. They want everything cold, because they're literally taking it home from our deli to reheat at home. So again, it's changed. So it's just constantly evolving, and you're always behind the eight ball, I just say, because you never know what's it going to be like tomorrow. The last couple of days here, for example, have been really quiet. Today's been manic. I think it's just because there was a bit of sun up this morning when people opened up, so people are out doing a bit of shopping. Just every day is very different. At least in a restaurant, what's coming at you, because 90% of the time it's booked, and you can forecast. This is a different animal altogether, but still, it's good. It's interesting.
Very good. And so that's obviously how your business has changed. I'd love to get your opinion on. Do you have any opinion on kind of the industry as a whole? Like, where do you think in a post-COVID world, what does the industry look like?
The hospitality sector, is in restaurants in general.
Yeah, exactly. Like you were saying about the grab and go concepts, where do you see that going, like that, the direction?
I certainly think that an awful lot of, you can already see that a lot of coffee shops have popped open all around the country, in the villages where people have now moved back to, the small towns and people aren't going to go back to the big cities and the big urban centres. They're working from home. So it's affording huge opportunities for extra businesses. I suppose mainstream restaurants are certainly going to, I think, will know about it. They'll come out of this They'll be as busy as ever. It's naturally within our culture to want to go out. We're all itching to go back out. I think maybe the first year there'll still be a lot of people on the fence. So once we get fully back open, and maybe next October when things are back to normal, if we can, I think we'll have a really good kind of 3-4 months into Christmas. Then I think, obviously that, because it's a natural high, it'll be all about summer of 2022. And if customer confidence is fully back, I can't see why restaurants won't be back doing what they're doing. They'll have learned a lot more. Wherever restaurant can use or utilize their outdoor space will be a huge cultural change around the country. I think eating outside will become a lot more, it'll be much more widely done. It'll be much more acceptable. We've already made changes in 2 of the restaurants already. The only one we haven't done is one in Harte's, but we've created outdoor spaces. And there's a lot of pubs have spent a lot of money. Pubs and restaurants have done this. So I think that's going to be huge for them. All these restaurants are actually, they're giving themselves more capacity than they ever had, because they've had to react to create this outdoor space, which is it's only putting us in line with the rest of Europe, which is, and always have had an eating out culture. Eating outside culture. So I think there's huge opportunities for a lot of those restaurants that have done that, and maybe they'll be at an advantage to the ones that weren't able to do it. But I think the industry as a whole will be fine. It'll 100%. It'll bounce back. As I say, it's going to close an awful lot of places. Don't get me wrong. There was probably an awful lot of places that were just barely ticking over and trying to find any way to stay alive. But this will have just put the nail in the coffin for them, unfortunately. And it's awful to think that is what's going to will happen if hasn't happened already. But I think the industry in itself will make a full recovery. I think there'll be an awful lot of opportunity out there for people if they do it the right way. And look, if we can just get through realistically, I suppose the next 9 months, if they can get us back open in May or June, and we do a little bit of outdoor dining, and then keep restrictions on us indoor into July and August, and then maybe have us back open and proper full throttle for Christmas. It'll be as long as the subsidies stay and the government support stay. It's not. Everybody should be able to make a go of it, and there's no reason why they shouldn't.
Yes, very good, Paul. I think that's the goodest place to leave it as we can. But honestly, thanks so much for this. It was we could talk all day. It was so insightful. I'm really looking forward to sharing this with my listeners. So thanks a million.
Good stuff. Thanks very much. Take care, mate.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for watching the Business of Restaurants podcast with me, Evan O'Callaghan. For new episodes every single week, subscribe below.